Before the last episode, it was more than a year since we last saw Sara in this series, and that was way back in episode 10, the finale of the first season itself. So it's been a very, very long time for someone as devious as her to be absent and not be given any screen time. It makes you really wonder what the hell she's been up to this entire time. There's this promotional screenshot for season 2 that was released many weeks ago, and in this screenshot you can see Sara sitting down at a table and maybe being interrogated by someone. I don't know. When I first saw the first episode of season 2, I thought that this meant Sara was in another room at the same dungeon that Martin, the old man, was being kept in. But now, with what we know and where we saw Sara in the last episode, it seems that she was just at the basement of Father Catherine's church the entire time, ever since she went into the tree. That's what I'm assuming. And it wasn't in the dungeon, which sucks because remember, we still don't know where the dungeon is. We don't know if it's in the lighthouse or a different building. There's just no information given about its location. We know nothing about it. Anyways, there's also this scene in the season 2 trailer where we got to see Jade getting approached seemingly by the same man who wrote those symbols in the book, and seemingly the same guy who's in the photograph that Jade found in that book in front of Victor. I think this upcoming episode is where that scene is gonna happen because we've got a lot of characters at Kenny's house. We got Tabitha, we got Julie, we got Ethan, we got Jade, Kenny, and his mom, and they're all living at that house right now. There's so many people, especially you got Jade, Tabitha, and Ethan in the same roof, and all of them, they have some sort of connection to Fromville. That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. And that's because the Matthews house collapsed, so that's where they're staying now. And remember, Ethan set up those Jenga blocks in the same way that the rocks in the cave were set up by the monsters. Him and Tabitha left that Jenga block right outside of the house. So maybe we'll get a better idea of what those Jenga blocks symbolize to the monsters in episode 4, because we don't know anything about them as of now. There's a scene with Boyd having a vision of Father Catry in his office and saying something along the lines of, "This isn't real," something like that. And there's another one with him hearing the music box while I think he's in the hospital while this is happening. I'm not sure which one is gonna happen in this next episode, but I'm sure one of them will. Maybe he'll have the music box vision in this one, because in that hospital scene in the trailer, I think what he was hearing was the music box, the same music box from the dungeon. And he'll have the Father Catry vision in episode 5, where Father Catry starts talking with Soul or whatever that is of Father Catry about the visions and all of that, and how he doesn't think it's real. Maybe that's how it's gonna happen. There's a very interesting scene where we see Victor and someone else at a junkyard full of abandoned cars, probably from people who came to Fromland, all sorts of people who died, I thought that this person with Victor was Ellis when I first saw it, but now I'm thinking it's actually Jade. And the reason they're there is because Victor maybe wants to show him something related to the symbol that Jade was asking him about, or for them to find the car that was in the photograph, in Jade's photograph, Maybe that's why they're there. I think this Jade vision happening in episode 4 and then this junkyard scene happening in episode 5, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe he has the vision, he learns something, and then he tells Victor. Victor has some sort of recollection, and then they go to the junkyard. That makes sense. There's another scene where we see the guy who was bullying Elgin in episode 1. He gets stuck in a van for some reason, and he gets surrounded by the vampire mimic monsters. I think this may happen in episode 4. He probably is gonna want to see the monsters for himself, and then maybe somebody gets killed and he realizes, oh shit, they're actually real. It's not fake. It's not some sort of cult trying to manipulate us or whatever. And then he runs into the van, and unless he's got a talisman, he's gonna be fucked in the ass right to Sunday, man. They are gonna have a field day with him. The scene in the trailer with Jim staring at something is almost like he's wondering how the hell their house collapsed. And that probably leads to his conversation with Tabitha about how maybe this entire place was designed specifically to see how they would react to these things. And therefore, there's people or something observing them. And maybe that's what caused the house collapse. I think that's what's going to happen in this scene with him and Tabitha. If this happens in episode 4, I think it will be at the end of the episode, but I think it's way too soon because it's only been one episode since we saw Jim with multiple broken ribs. Anyways, I've definitely been pleasantly surprised at how the trailer mostly had scenes from the first episodes, because it means they've got a lot to show us in the later ones. Anyways, thanks for watching, and comment if you think anything specific is bound to happen in episode 4, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.